you think that this year will be compared to the 1990s years of crap cards? You mean junk wax era 2.0? Back in the, junk card era of the mid to late 80s into the 90s, you had maybe 2 or 3 sets a year, right, of any sports card printed. Now, you did have 4 or 5 companies printing releases. Fleer, Leaf, Donruss, Topps, all were prominent printers of cards back at that time. Pro Set, there's a couple more that I'm forgetting, but I mean, essentially, guys, you had like 5 to 8 companies printing 1 to 3 releases of players' cards per year. Now, and that ended up with millions and millions and millions of cards extra being printed because they were all trying to make money. They thought they were essentially printing money. And now, of course, we still have pallets of those unopened boxes from the 80s into the early 90s still sitting everywhere. So they were worth nothing.
We got screwed.
Now, with all of these releases coming out per year, you guys, think about this and think about the psychological tricks that Topps and Panini are kind of playing with collectors here. You see a new release now, not just every month, but sometimes every 2 weeks. Let's just take football from Panini, for example. You've got NFL PRIZM Draft. You've got Elite. You've got Phoenix. You've got Spectra, PRIZM, Mosaic, Optic, Donruss Base. I mean, that's just like 10 to 12 right there. I know that there's closer to 20. And when you're printing that many sets over and over and over and over and over and over and over again for a year, I understand some of them have different values, but like just think about this, you guys. So let's say that there's 25 sets of football released from Panini every year, right? There's Justin Herbert cards numbered out of 199 in each of those sets for his rookie year. Well, there are 25 sets times Justin Herbert out of 199 rookie cards. Think about that, you guys. Now, once again, there are different values, there are different designs, there are different spectra, different Phoenix looks, and so the art's different, and so that's going to attract some people. But think about it, you guys. How many different releases are there from month to month? A ton. And when you have those repeatedly coming out with the same parallels over and over, month to month, year to year, the value isn't there. And I'm super scared. I don't know that we're in a junk wax era. I don't think that we necessarily are. But I'm super scared that Topps and Panini are kind of pulling the wool over collectors' eyes by doing so many of these releases with the same amount of parallels in each one. I mean, just think about that, you guys. Think about the limited, and I see somebody Huddle's talking about the big difference is the special cards. I understand, yes, there's a lot of shine now. There's the colored parallels, but that's what I'm getting at, you guys. There are 25 sets of Justin Herbert colored parallel rookie cards, for instance. That's a lot. And we're just talking colored parallels. Think about the bases. Think about the base Justin Herbert PRIZM cards. And there are clips. I can even go find, I think it was either Sports Card Investor or one of the other sports card investing channels here on YouTube, talking to a Panini executive about their print runs. And even the Panini executive was like, well, you probably don't want to know the print runs. Saying that knowing that the value would go down if you knew, for instance, how many green prisms were printed.
I don't know that you'll ever know what the full print run of a base set is or a base parallel, probably because it's a big number, and I don't know that anybody wants to know.
I'm not saying that this is for sure, but I'm getting a little bit more suspicious week by week. I see all these new products, and I'm like, okay, am I psychologically being screwed with here?
Ah! It's so awesome! I want it!
Think about this, okay? Topps specifically compared to Panini. Topps prints the odds for packs on their boxes right here. So they tell you exactly what your chances are of pulling a specific parallel. And what you can use those numbers to discern is how many cards were printed from that set. You got to do some math and you got to go backwards, but you can discern how many cards were printed from that set. Now, Panini, check out their odds. They don't give you any. They tell you, look for these randomly inserted colored parallels. They don't give you any 1 out of 8, 1 out of 10, 1 out of 12, 1 out of anything. So you don't know what their print runs are. You don't even have a way of doing the math to figure it out.
You just blew my mind.
Billy says, we aren't in a junk era. Just have to know what to hang on to and what to flip quick. I mean, yes and no. Yeah, you can flip it quickly, but at the same time, there's a lot of people that are investing for the long term. And unfortunately, I think some of those people are going to get hung out to dry, just like they did in the junk wax era. Brett says the card business is a business. If the product is hot and people are buying it, they print to the gills. Yeah, that's going to kill the business, though. And you're going to now wait for another 20 or 30 years for it to get big again. So I guess if they are okay with that, they say that they're not. You go look at their interviews, man. What you're saying, I understand that point, Brett, but those companies have specifically told their customers that's not what we want to do.
We have so many people in our building that are instrumental in the production of our products who lived through that and don't want to relive it for all the right reasons. So I think we're in good hands there.
So you can't just assume that that's what they're doing when they're trying to tell us, with all their word speak, hey, no, that's not what we're doing. It's just blatant lying and dishonesty then at that point. I think that's what people have a problem with, is the fact that the companies themselves right now are like, oh, we don't want a junk wax era 2.0. So I think that's more the issue that at least me and other people have with it. Epiphany says, I lived through the junk wax era, and I'm seeing it happen now. Because when the 90s came, you start to get these higher-end cards. Fleer bought Flair, Topps, in its first finest, and so on. Clay says, if this was a junk wax era, they would be stocking several cases per week at Walmart, not a half case or 1 case per week. I'm 48, lived through it. Every store sold cards, small or big. No, that's true, Clay, and that is a big difference. The supply and the demand is definitely not equal. So you're right about that, Clay. That's a valid point, and that's one of the reasons why I don't necessarily think that my theory could be correct. It's a theory. I'm suspicious, but I need to do some